Man, he needed to reevaluate this one. If he has Zach, where does he have Zach Wilson on the list?
I just know he's ahead. I know he's ahead. He's also got Daniel Jones ahead of him.
Of who? Ahead of who?
Ahead of Jalen Hurts.
What?
Yes.
Oh, so you got three. You got to trash that list.
And he's not usually just a hot take guy. He's not a Skip Bayless. And I know what you're saying, Derek. I think he does think about it and whatever. I know the guy watches a lot of tape and all that. This is a joke. I mean, honestly. And look, I am not just like some Eagles honk that's going to tell you, hey, Jalen Hurts is number one. He's ahead of everybody. I'm not telling you that. But ahead of some of these guys, is like I went through it, and I have him at 19. Wishing you a great, fun, relaxing, safe Memorial Day weekend. Welcome back in everybody's Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He is Barrett Brooks. He is Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We had a little fun in the first segment. I think this will be a lighter kind of show, so we'll be revisiting some of those topics and bearing our soul, if you will, some of the stuff that are shenanigans back in the day. We will keep that rolling as well. But I didn't know if you guys saw this or not. Chris Sims of NBC Sports Network, who also does, I believe he works with Mike Florio as well on PFT. Put out, he's releasing his quarterback rankings. He hasn't given them all yet, but he's working his way from, I think, 25 up. Okay. If that makes sense. So he's released the first chunk of this thing, and he has Jalen Hurts of the Eagles at 19 overall. I'm sorry, 25 overall. Excuse me. He has Jalen Hurts at 25 overall. Just to give you two examples of names that are ahead of Jalen Hurts on his list. Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. Both were rookies last year. One for the Bears, one for the Jets. He has them ahead of Jalen Hurts on his list. Now, he took a lot of heat last year for where he had I think he had him ranked 30th, Jalen Hurts. And he actually came on John Clark's podcast, Takeoff, I think it's called, and admitted that he was wrong. But not a whole lot's changed here. He has him at 25. And to have Wilson and Fields over him, I find laughable personally.
What the heck what has Zach Wilson done? What has Zach Wilson shown you? I don't even know if he's a legit NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know if either one is.
Now, granted, he's stuck in a bad situation right now because that team has a lot to do.
So this is his criteria, Derek. It's not an all-time rank. It's not about career potential. It's not about how good a QB's team is. Like, to me, if it's not about potential, if it's not about their team, how are those two guys ahead of him? Like, how is that possibly even a thing?
Well, I would say with Justin Fields has an arm like a cannon. He can throw it a country mile. Justin Fields can scramble, but Justin Fields also made a lot of mistakes. But again, look at where Justin Fields was staying, and you look at the instability of what goes on there in Chicago. But I can't sit here and say that he's a better overall quarterback than Jalen Hurts right now. Zach Wilson, I'm not feeling that. I don't get that at all, man. To me, and I know Chris puts a lot of time and effort into his things before he puts them out there in the public, but man, he needed to reevaluate this one. If he has Zach, where does he have Zach Wilson on the list?
I just know he's ahead. I know he's ahead. He's also got Daniel Jones ahead of him.
Of who? Ahead of who?
Ahead of Jalen Hurts.
What?
Yes.
Oh, so you got three. You got to trash that list.
And he's not usually just a hot take guy. He's not a Skip Bayless. And I know what you're saying, Derek. I think he does think about it and whatever. I know the guy watches a lot of tape and all that. This is a joke. I mean, honestly. And look, I am not just like some Eagles honk that's going to tell you, hey, Jalen Hurts is number one. He's ahead of everybody. I'm not telling you that. But ahead of some of these guys is like I went through it, and I have him at 19. That's where I had him. Okay. And I'll give you my logic, and Barrett and Derek, tell me if you disagree with these. I simply did it by just looking at the teams in the league. Okay. And it's a process of elimination. Like, I'll put it this way. I'll start in the AFC East. I have Buffalo ahead of him, obviously, with Josh Allen, right?
Yep.
Mac Jones, I think it's debatable, but you could argue that one because we just don't know right now. Okay. So there's two. Burrow, without question, 3. Deshaun Watson, remember, this is about what he's doing on the field. I'm not talking about what he does what happened off the field. That's 4. Lamar Jackson, 5. Tannehill, I don't love him, but I'd still right now put him ahead of him. That's 6. Matt Ryan, 7. I didn't put Trevor Lawrence ahead of him, so right now that's 7. Everybody in the West, that gets you to 11.
Right.
Right. Not even, we don't have to debate that.
Right.
Dak ahead of him, puts him at 12. Aaron Rodgers puts him at 13. Kirk Cousins, at least for right now, puts him at 14. Brady puts him at 15.
Murray.
Who?
Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Murray puts him at 16. Stafford puts him at 17. Garoppolo, I'm going to go with just for the sake of the argument. There's 18, and that's where I come in at 19, guys, which I don't think, look, there's maybe 2 there you could debate, but that's kind of where I had it.
I don't disagree with you. I think that's about right. You know, and when you talk about guys, borderline guys that you debated whether or not they were ahead of Jalen Hurts and Ryan Tannehills and people like that, it has to be based on overall experience and what they've been able to do. And so rightfully so, they're ahead of those guys. Jalen Hurts is just dipping his toe into the water his second year. You know, he has so much room to grow, and hopefully he ends up being arguably one of the top 12 or 13 in the game. You know, but Justin Fields and Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that's it right there. You know what I'm saying? No, Daniel Jones too.
Daniel Jones,
Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence.
Come on, man. Seriously?
And there lies my problem because, I mean, none of them quarterbacks even sniffed the playoffs.
No.
I mean, hell, Jalen took his team to the playoffs. Say what you want to say. I mean, he has more tools than all those guys, you know, together. I mean, the only strength of arm, I mean, all right, you got some guys there with a cannon. You know, Lawrence has a cannon, Fields has a cannon, but Wilson, he doesn't have a cannon. Jones does not have a cannon. He's a better athlete than all those guys out there. I mean, Fields may be a little bit faster, but he doesn't have the functional speed that Jalen Hurts has and power that he has. Pre-snap, none of them quarterbacks right there have a good pre-snap read right now. Jones doesn't, Lawrence doesn't, Fields doesn't, Wilson doesn't.
No.
So, you know, that means to me that's just inaccurate on how he, you know, I mean, what are his criteria which puts him into that mindset? I mean, I need to know what the criteria were.
That's what I just gave you is really all he kind of laid out there. But that, to me, it doesn't apply. Like, you're clearly basing Wilson and Fields on potential, not on what you saw last year by any stretch.
Right. Now I'm looking at Zach Wilson's numbers. He played in 13 games. He only completed 55.6% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, 11 INTs. I mean, really? And you're going to put him ahead of Jalen Hurts? I don't think so. No.
What are Justin Fields' numbers?
Well, I'll give him. So completion percentage, Hurts 61.3, Fields 58.9, Wilson 55.6. Yards per attempt, Hurts 7.2, Fields 6.9, Wilson 6.1. Touchdowns, Hurts 16, Fields 7, Wilson 9. Interceptions, 9 for Hurts, 10 for Fields, 11 for Wilson. Rushing yards per carry, 5.6 for Hurts, 10 rushing touchdowns. 5.8 for Fields, 2 rushing touchdowns. Wilson, 6.4 yards per attempt, 4 rushing touchdowns. Virtually every category, Hurts is ahead of him.
Yeah, see, we need to get Chris Sims on this show. We got to get him on the show.
Yeah, and look, he's not a guy who hides, so we'll take a run at him next week for sure. We'll see if we can get him on. But I just again, it's not outrageous. I had him at 19 as opposed to 25, but some of the guys who he had ahead of him were what would put my antenna up.
Yeah, come on, man.
Well, look at this. You know, I mean, look at the stream. Deion Walker. Sims had Zach Wilson as the number 1 quarterback coming out. His you know, going into his rookie year. He was my 5th ranked quarterback. And 5th ranked quarterback in that draft.
Oh, Tone gave us the list, guys. So he has Hurts at 25, Trevor Lawrence at 24, Fields at 23, Zach Wilson at 22, and Daniel Jones at 21.
Oh, no.
Great. Give me a freaking break.
No.
Oh, God. Yeah, you're right, Barrett. I think that's because he loved him so much coming out of college. I think you're right about that.
And I don't see why, because when you look at his game, he was not a drop back quarterback. When he made his boast, you know, as far as, you know, chunk yardage, was when he was out of the pocket. You had to move the pocket for him to be successful. Sitting in the pocket, he wasn't that accurate at all. I didn't think he was really a top quarterback in the draft that year that he came out. I don't know what the Jets saw in him to make him fall in love, and you see they're paying for that right now.
Yeah,
they're definitely paying for that right now.
Yeah, like I think most of these young, I don't put Jones in this category, but like the Wilsons in the field, I think you have to give them a chance and see what happens with better people around them. But I think the same applies to Jalen Hurts. Like he certainly had the best offensive line of that group, but the weapons weren't there for him other than Devontae.
Yeah.
So,
and you look at the weapons that Daniel Jones had to throw to, and a lot of times can hit. I mean, he had a plethora. The offensive line was a mess, and I guess you have to attribute X amount of it to coaching. Because Daniel Jones saw too many ghosts. He would stand back there and hold the ball. But when you look at the 3 or 4 receivers deep that he had to throw to, and they weren't in more of a rhythmic offense where you get the ball out of your hand quick, and maybe, his best year was his rookie year, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The next year, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then last year, he played in 11 games, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. His completion percentage has been between 62 and 64% every year, but still, you serious?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
No,
I found the whole thing kind of humorous. So we'll certainly debate that, try and get them all. And I get where some people are saying like Trevor Lawrence is so talented, no doubt, like no question. I actually I even had him ahead of him because I think he's going to be that good. He was in an untenable situation last year with an awful coach, with a bad team. And yet all that, I think all that plays into it and all that comes in, you take all that into account. I'll ask you guys this just in regards to Jalen Hurts. Tell me, Barrett, I'll start with you on this. What aspect did you see him get better at, markedly improve at last year?
From first year?
Rookie, from his first. I know he only started 4 games, whatever it was. But what did you see him improve on? Even as the season went on, you could just say from week 2 to week 12, he got so much better at this.
With me, when he really got better at taking command of the offense, taking command of the huddle. Being a leader. Him when he started those 4 games, he took hold and really optimized what he was as a quarterback. To fit what they were trying to do for him. They really didn't have an offense that he could run that he really suited his skill set. It wasn't until this year last year that he really got acclimated to the NFL and becoming, the guy that was, that we saw, towards the end of last year. But when he first took the reins at the quarterback position, watch how guys latched on to him. I mean, of course, he didn't have the pre-snap reads down and things of that nature. He's only 4 games into his rookie year, but it's just his command and how he approached the game. Given opportunity, I thought his deep ball was a lot better his first year than it was last year. He threw a nice deep ball his first year. He's got to get back on that. But to me, he became the leader of that team, and he was ready to take the reins from that point on.
How about you, Derek?
I think he grew as a leader, but I don't think he grew as much as I was hoping he would grow in terms of a technical quarterback. I still thought that he made way too many mistakes with the ball. I thought at times he took off and ran too much. And again, I'm not going to browbeat him because his first year that he played 4 games in, he played under Doug Peterson. The next year, he's playing under a completely different system in Nick Sirianni. So his head is still swimming somewhat in terms of understanding what Nick wants him to do, where to go with the ball, and things like that. Jalen, even as the season wore on, I thought he made way too many mistakes with the football, overthrowing receivers, underthrowing receivers, throwing interceptions. I mean, you look at the week in November, he goes no touchdowns and 3 interceptions against a team like the Giants. The Giants were not a good defensive football team, But he threw in his last 4 games, he threw 4 picks. He had 9 total for the season, but his completion percentage would go up 76%. One game against Washington, 58% the next game against the Giants, and then back up to 65% against Washington. There was never any consistency. I mean, even if he completed 45% of his passes against the Giants in the game he threw the 3 picks. And I'm looking at his numbers up and down the board. His first game out against Atlanta, he completes 77% of his passes. And then it goes 52, 64, 66, 59, 46, 52, 60, mid-60s, 50s. So there was never a level of consistency in terms of him leveling off and being a lot smoother in terms of his reads and his progressions. So I thought his learning curve stagnated a bit more than I was hoping it would, making that transition from Doug Peterson to Nick Sirianni.
All right, here's the question that I have for you, and I'll go Barrett again first, and then Derek jump on this. So, what should the expectation be for this year? A guy who completed 61.3%, threw for over 3,100 yards, 7.3 yards per pass, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and an 87.2 passer rating. What should the expectation be for 2022?
If he wants to keep his job, he needs right around over 4,000 yards passing. He needs no less than 25 touchdowns. His passer rating has to go up at least 3 or 4%. And, his rushing yardage probably has to stay around the same to what it was.
Or go back a little.
Yeah, or back. Yeah. I mean, with 4,000 yards passing, you're not going to be running as much. So yeah, you're going to suffer a little bit from running.
Which who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, rushing is not really suffering because you're throwing the ball.
He's preserving his body.
And you're going through your that means you're going through your progressions and not tucking it after the first guy isn't open too.
And still staying below 7 interceptions.
Wow, that's a low number.
That's low. There are many quarterbacks outside of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers who stay below 7 interceptions a season.
He's trying to get a contract, man. You got to do what you got to do.
Interesting.
No, I'm only saying that because quarterbacks who've been in the league, like Matt Ryan and all these guys, they still throw 10, 11, 12 interceptions a year. I want to see Jalen Hurts throw no more than 9 or 10 picks. I do want to see him throw for over 4,000 yards. I want to see him put up a minimum 25, 26 touchdown passes. I want his QB rating to be in the mid to high 90s, at the very least, mid to high 90s. And I want to see his rushing yards reduced significantly while his passing yards are going up. That's what I want to see, because that's telling me he's learning his lesson in terms of how to go through your progressions, not getting too skittish and taking off too soon and running the football. And I think that makes him a better overall quarterback. They've had this entire offseason, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, go through the playbooks, streamline it even more so. This is what your strengths are here. We're going to eliminate this. We'll put this on the back burner, maybe bring it out for a gadget play or something like that. But I want you to focus on this element of our playbooks. This is going to make you a much better quarterback in the National Football League. And I think if Nick Sirianni does with this playbook, what I hope he does, if Jalen Hurts is as committed as we've heard he is, I think the numbers will improve significantly.
All right. For me, guys, I think everything you just laid out numbers-wise is dead on. There's also just intangibles for me that I want to see. And what I mean by that is, going through progressions, not necessarily looking to tuck it after the first guy isn't open and taking off. Just like little things like not that he doesn't have presence. I think he totally has presence of the huddle and command of the huddle and all that. I think that's all there. But it's just things like that, just more of an understanding of what teams are trying to do to you schematically.
Yes.
How they're trying to fool you with different looks, pre-snap and all those kind of things. Like that's really where it's at for me with him this year. And there's no reason to believe that he won't improve on all those things. And I just think too, there's got to be such a comfort level with him being in the second year of an offense where he hasn't had that opportunity since he was in high school with his dad coaching him. So that's a big piece of this for me.
Huge. Yep.
As the season goes, he has the opportunity too, I think, to get off to a good start too, which should help his confidence as he rolls in past the quarter mark, past that 4-game mark. It should be good for him.
And see, as I'm looking at the quarterback's numbers from 2021, I think my expectation of him, when I said 9 or 10 interceptions, may be a little too stringent on him. Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, he threw 12 interceptions last year. Justin Herbert, who we both agree is a kid on the rise, 15. Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl winning quarterback, 17. Patrick Mahomes, 13. Derek Carr, 14. Joe Burrow, 14. Josh Allen, 15. These are the top-tier quarterbacks in the National Football League last year. Then you get down to Aaron Rodgers, 4. Aaron Rodgers just doesn't turn the ball over, period.
Right.
Okay. But then, you look at Kyler Murray, 10, Mac Jones, 13, Garoppolo, 13. So most of your frontline quarterbacks in the National Football League are throwing double digits in interceptions.
Wow.
So,
I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah, I
Right.
wouldn't care. Like, to me, if he has 12, I don't care. I mean, I don't think that's a really high number. I'm fine.
no, it's not. No, when you look at these other numbers, no. These are Hall of Fame, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the future of the NFL, the Joe Burrows, the Josh Allens. They're throwing double digit INTs. So who am I to expect Jalen Hurts not to throw 10, 11, 12, 14 INTs? Long as that that touchdown number far exceeds that interception number, I'm all right with that.
Amen.
Wow,
I'm good there.
Now that you put it that way, I mean,
I'm good there too. That's for
right,
sure.
right. I mean,
I
don't see him as a turnover machine. That's
no, he's not. He's not.
Right,
But I also want him to take some chances, Barrett, that he didn't necessarily take before.
Right.
Especially with AJ Brown. Sometimes it's a tight window. He's not going to be, I don't think, as open sometimes as Devontae Smith maybe with his route running. But you got to take a chance on that dude is going to be able to make the play if it's 50-50. I'll take my chances with AJ Brown all day.
I agree.
All right, we'll dig into that. We'll keep going with the football talk. We'll mix in some Phillies as well, and we'll continue with our Memorial Day questions. I'll ask you guys favorite backyard activity when we get back. All right, favorite backyard activity. Not grilling, okay? Not grilling. Just something else you like to do, sporting wise or whatever. We'll get into that when we get back. That's for sure. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, the challenges of finding somebody to trust with your finances. It can be a really scary proposition. And I will tell you, I had a tough time for a long time, but I found the right person. From my own personal experience, I have somebody that you can trust with your finances, and his name is Jim Murray, Murray, from Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, if you have a small business and you're trying to set up your employee benefits, that's another resource that Jim can help you with. He helped me with everything. I'm telling you, I entrusted him with my IRA, my 401k rollover. I call him probably more than I should and ask him questions about my finances and investing and what I need to do. And he's always there to help. He'll be there for you as well. 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can also email him at Murray, Murray.Jim@principal.com.